What are we asking companies to do? It's to collaborate really on transformational projects that cannot be done in isolation by any one company alone, and really need, as you mentioned, a value chain approach.
Scalable low carbon production. That's a challenge for many industries. It's a particular challenge for the chemicals industry. Now, you had a company, Moeve, who works in that field. How are you taking up this challenge?
It's a big challenge for the chemicals industry because there's a number of things we need to do at the same time in order to get to the promised land of the green chemicals molecule. We need to rewire the whole feedstock chain from fossil to sustainable feedstocks. We need to decarbonize our own operations, which is electrifying heat, electrifying energy, etc., and then use, obviously, renewable electricity. We also need to make sure that we really embrace circularity in the whole value chain. And we need to get the customers in, because at the end of the day, somebody has to buy this green chemicals molecule, and that's not always straightforward.
And you already hinted at it, Maarten. You know, it depends on your customers. It also depends on other corporates, on your competition. Charlie, you've worked on this a lot, right? If you look at GIC, what does it take to build a coalition where you bring stakeholders from very different walks of life together to tackle a challenge like the one Maarten described?
Yeah, so for us, when we started Global Impact Coalition 2 years ago now, it was very important that from the outset we were able to form a very strong governance process. So actually, what are the rules of engagement? How do companies cooperate together? How did they share in knowledge? How did they share in risk as well? Occasionally in large capex investments. What is the way that we can not just enable this, but also accelerate this? So it's very important also that we were able to have a strong element of trust. So thankfully, our roots started here at the World Economic Forum. And we've managed to continue this trust because actually what are we asking companies to do? It's to collaborate really on transformational projects that cannot be done in isolation by any one company alone, and really need, as you mentioned, a value chain approach. So this is from, I would say, chemical producers all the way down really to the end user. And this also takes into account financing, policy, regulation. So there are many different facets of actually moving forward into the sustainable transition in a way that also allows it to be commercially viable, which is very important actually in times like this, when of course CEOs have many priorities on the table. But we as GIC, to be successful, we have to lead with the commercial viability really. And of course, this will unlock the sustainability impacts.
Is there any emerging technology or business model of your company or another that you find especially exciting or promising?
I think as an industry, we have to really work with our customers to see where are those niches. Because we don't often, historically, we haven't really looked at the final customer. We've just looked at the buyer of our chemical. We need to look at the final customer and see which final customer might be willing to pay a premium. But that leaves quite a lot of chemicals still unanswered where there simply isn't a final customer willing to pay a premium unless the regulator forces them to. So it's working with customers, final customer insights, and working with regulators to get demand at scale, because these businesses, all these value chains are not going to run unless there are people buying at the end.
And I think what you've both spoken eloquently about is the private sector can do a lot alone and in coalitions to advance the innovation, to actually, put in the research and the development. But to take it up beyond the niche and to move it into broad markets, it will need the policy making behind it. So best of success for 2026. And thank you both for joining me here today.
Many thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.